Are you guys ready? I mean, are you ready? I just know over the Christmas holidays, when you were sitting on Santa's lap, telling him what you wanted for Christmas, what would make your 2022 better than 2021, I know all of you guys said, I want to know more about Colin Kaepernick next year. He just interests me so much. I cannot get enough of this man. He is so proficient at turning himself into a victim. He is like a kitten trapped in a den of wolves. All those evil white men trying to ruin him, but they just can't keep a good man down. I've always found it interesting how the miserables, how the victimizers, how the identifiers view discrimination. You see, it's only discrimination if the situation checks off certain parameters. The mayor of New York City, for example, I can't think of his name. I think his name's Eric Adams. Over the weekend, this dude is caught on video denigrating 70% of the population using your, typical slurs, but the SJWs, they don't consider what Eric Adams said to be wrong. It is perfectly acceptable for white people to be denigrated. That's why this story was barely a blip on the mainstream media radar over the weekend. Now, if the roles were reversed and Rand Paul had done the same thing, he would be banned from every social media platform. I would say that he would need 24-hour security to protect him, but we all know social justice warriors are afraid of physical altercations. Colin Kaepernick is heralded as this hero of social justice. They claim that he brought awareness to police brutality. But how? We have been talking about police brutality for decades in this country. It's not like Colin Kaepernick was revolutionary when it came to that. He saw his NFL career dying, a slow, painful death. He knew that he was on his way out of the league. He needed to build a post NFL career. And instead of doing what normal people do, perhaps a career in broadcasting, maybe he starts football camps across the country, becomes a coach, starts a business outside of football. No, none of that was in the cards for Colin Kaepernick. Instead, he started a business designed on myths and fantasies. He capitalized on the same thing politicians have capitalized on for decades when it comes to minorities, and that's the business of racism. Yes, racism is a business, and it's big business. Politicians, they use it to keep the country divided. People like Al Sharpton, Colin Kaepernick, they use it for monetary gain. The only thing this hero has done, besides making millions of dollars by victimizing himself and the community that he supposedly represents, but the only thing Colin Kaepernick has done is work to divide the country based on race. And I'm not just talking about black and white either, because the main target of Colin Kaepernick and his movement happens to be the color blue. He did not invent the hatred of police, but Colin Kaepernick is the face of the movement against police in this country. It's led to situations like this, where a brainwashed substitute teacher calls out a student for wearing a mask that supports the police.
A substitute teacher caught on camera allegedly harassing an 8th grade student over the thin blue line on his mask.
That's the substitute teacher Amanda McCollum said provoked this verbal altercation in her son's math class.
No, it's black, white with some blue line in it.
Yeah, thin blue line.
Yeah, but it's not American.
That's not thin blue line.
That's American.
It's American.
It's the new Confederacy flag.
No. I thought if you wore a mask, you were accepted with open arms into woke you. Most colleges and universities, they have an application process. They require transcripts, ACT or SAT scores, but not woke you. You send them a picture of you wearing a mask, automatically accepted. This kid is in compliance. We can easily control and manipulate him. Turns out, though, if you're wearing a mask that could trigger a sensitive social justice warrior, you are no longer in compliance. It was announced over the weekend that Spike Lee will be the director of the Colin Kaepernick documentary being produced by ESPN. Now, this documentary, it was actually announced 2 years ago. You know, when it was the cool thing to do in the media to exploit racism. 2 years, 730 days. And this thing hasn't even gotten off the ground floor yet. I mean, they're just hiring a director. I know Colin Kaepernick has been so busy. He put in a lot of work on his Netflix special, which was one giant piece of shit. Another hit piece, that's all it was, another hit piece on the NFL and their bias against black people. The Netflix special, it featured such gems like comparing the NFL to a plantation where evil white men sit in their luxury boxes and exploit black men by paying them millions of dollars every year. If that's exploitation, sign me up. Speaking of exploitation, how come these people never talk about the exploitation of Stephen A. Smith? I'm pretty sure the executives at ESPN are mostly white. They exploit Stephen A. by paying him $12 million a year to say whatever they want him to say. Using the logic of Colin Kaepernick, wouldn't that be considered exploitation too? KC, you dumbass, that doesn't fit the narrative. My bad, I forgot. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, using logic with the mentally challenged. I have even more great news, though. Guess who else is working on this project with Colin Kaepernick? Come on, guys, just think about it. Think really hard. Think of the social justice warrior who never lets an opportunity to promote bullshit pass her by. Jamel Hill, the purveyor of propaganda, the woman stalking Twitter daily, looking for something to exploit for financial gain, the woman who built a media career by victimizing herself and exploiting her own community. You ever notice, and I said the same thing last week about Brian Flores in the NFL, but you ever notice that these people never come up with solutions? Social justice warriors, they don't know how to solve problems. They don't know how to build things. All they know how to do is destroy. Let's pretend for 1 second that Colin Kaepernick, Jamel Hill, that they're right. Millions of police officers wake up every morning in America with the sole mission of harming minorities. It's like Germany in the 1930s. Even though those of us who are occupying space and reality know this is not true, just pretend you're stupid for a second and you believe the propaganda. What has Colin Kaepernick, Jamel Hill, any of these SJWs, what have they proposed as a solution to this problem? We must defund the police. The police are dangerous to our community. They are killing our children. The police are harming our young men. I once witnessed a cop shoot a black man who was pointing a gun at him. That's just wrong. The cop should have tried to reason with the man trying to kill him and spoke with him about his turbulent childhood. Go ask the people of Seattle, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York City. I'm talking about the real people, not the dumbass, robotic political activists and politicians. Ask the real people of those cities, of all races, the business owner whose store was robbed, the African American mother who lost her son to violence. KC, we should get rid of guns. Yeah, what a brilliant idea. Let's not only get rid of cops, let's get rid of guns too. When law-abiding citizens find themselves in bad situations, they can call Jamel Hill to come save them. I promise it won't take her long to get there. Didn't you see how fast Colin Kaepernick was on the football field in the NFL? Jamel Hill will just jump on his back, crank his engine up, and they'll be there to save you in weeks. If the criminal still happens to be there once they arrive, they will use their powers of psychology to talk him out of harming you. Imagine my surprise when I was researching this new and improved Colin Kaepernick documentary, and I saw an article from Deadspin. Deadspin, the place where graduates of woke you go to become starving writers. The headline at Deadspin: the leave race out of it crowd is going to love what ESPN and Colin Kaepernick are working on. Yes, ESPN's really fucking up those people living in that alternate universe known as reality. Let's go back to the nerdium where we can laugh at them while we watch Star Trek. Tagline of the article: Cap is back on ESPN. Didn't need a jersey to get there. You know, because according to the sexually challenged, the evil white men in the NFL blackballed their hero because he's black. The guy with a white mother is black. Look at this woman. This is Heidi Russo, the biological mother of Colin Kaepernick. Does she look black to you? Now, obviously, his biological father is black, but his race had nothing to do with him being exiled from the NFL. NFL owners wanted nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick because he was bad for business. Ever since, he has been on this mission to take down the league. He has joined forces with the mainstream media trying to change your perception of the NFL. Think about it. Think about the timing of this announcement. This documentary was announced by ESPN 2 years ago, and they're just now hiring a director? Just think about the announcement of Spike Lee. Think of the timing. What happened in the NFL last week? The Brian Flores lawsuit. ESPN, they suck at a lot of things, but marketing is not one of them. Brian Flores files his lawsuit alleging discrimination against black coaches in the NFL. ESPN attempts to make news with Colin Kaepernick. And have you ever noticed Colin Kaepernick, he rarely gives interviews? Since the NFL gave him a swift kick in the ass in 2017, sending him from the land of giants and alpha males to the land of victims and virgins, Colin Kaepernick has rarely given interviews. Why? Sure, he was interviewed by Ebony Magazine last October. I'm sure they asked him really tough questions. Colin, what are your favorite shoes to wear when you're running from the police? Normally, when someone is promoting something like a Netflix special, they make the media round. CNN, ESPN, Time Magazine, Howard Stern, Joe Rogan, Fox News, but not Colin Kaepernick. He grants one interview to a magazine that no one reads. Why? He's afraid of being exposed. Colin Kaepernick knows that he cannot defend his position. Jemele Hill, as much as I disagree with her, she would be tough to debate on these issues. Jemele Hill's smart. She's become proficient at justifying false narratives. Colin Kaepernick doesn't have that type of experience. He's great in a controlled environment. He's great posting propaganda memes on Instagram, but answering tough questions, pushing him to explain his position that's based on a false premise, he can't do it. If he could, then he would. Colin Kaepernick is the face of this movement, yet he remains in the shadows. If he were really about helping minority communities and not just profiting from it, wouldn't he be coming up and promoting solutions to these problems? Instead, he remains in the background, collecting checks from Nike, Netflix, ESPN. All the while, the people in the communities where police are defunded are not only struggling financially, they're struggling to fucking survive. Deadspin praised Colin Kaepernick for sacrificing his NFL career so he could do the right thing. This dude didn't sacrifice shit. His NFL career was on the decline, and he capitalized by exploiting minorities. Real hero. And look, I don't hate him for it. Contrary to what Deadspin believes, it doesn't bother me that Colin Kaepernick is making millions of dollars exploiting communities that have been exploited by politicians for decades. It has no effect on me. I don't like to see anyone be exploited, but if it's going to happen, I would rather a private citizen like Colin Kaepernick do it than some dickhead politician. I mean, this is America. If Colin Kaepernick wants to make his living this way, more power to him. But don't try to convince me that what he's doing is heroic, because it's not. It's actually hypocritical. Colin Kaepernick likes to promote communism, yet he benefits off the capitalistic system here in America, the same system he claims is against him. All right, let me know what you guys think. Spike Lee, Colin Kaepernick, Jemele Hill. I imagine this documentary on ESPN will be a ratings disaster. What do you think? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.